Now, later today, the New Orleans City Council will consider confirming the 9 appointees to the Street Renaming Commission. That commission has been tasked with identifying public spaces and symbols across the city that honor white supremacists and finding ways to replace them. Joining us now is Councilmember Joe Giarrusso ahead of today's regular meeting. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sheba. Good morning.
Good morning. We've been talking a lot about this Street Renaming Commission, and of course it is very timely in light of everything happening right now with moves towards racial justice. Tell us more about it.
Well, look, the first thing I want to say is we've been getting a lot of feedback that this seems like, is it too fast, too soon? And look, Mississippi right now has taken the Confederate flag off of their flag. The U.S. Congress is voting to take Confederate names off of U.S. military bases. So really what we're doing is in lockstep with sort of mainstream that's going on. And the other thing I've said before, too, that's incredibly important to me is that this is a bottom-up, not a top-down approach. And I really want people in neighborhoods to feel like, as we're making these decisions, that their voices are being heard and that what's in their neighborhood is important. And to that end, if you look at the map of streets named after Confederates, and I can see on the screen right now, Jeff Davis Parkway, Lakeview, Holly Grove, and Uptown primarily have street names that are going to be things that are going to be examined. And I think one of the other hard parts in all of this is the education piece too. Because if you ask people who's Walker or who's Lane, nobody really knows, right? And so we have to do a job, and the commission has to do its job in explaining that to people, because names like Jeff Davis or Robert E. Lee, people certainly know. But then why do others deserve to be examined, and what does it look like as we go forward?
Yeah, sure. This commission has some important work, so we'll definitely be following that today. I know you guys are just getting started with appointing those members. We, of course, have to talk about the coronavirus. We've been talking about increases in cases we're seeing in our area, unfortunately, despite efforts, of course, with social distancing and wearing masks. We also hear there's been issues with businesses not complying with those efforts.
Yeah, and the hard part is, I think, once you say to all these people, hey, look, we're going to really batten down the hatches and make sure that we're going to be safe and stay inside, and you start rolling back what needs to be done, do people feel like they can take greater risks? And look, I'll be the first to say that once gyms reopened, I went back to the gym. I may not look it, but I went back. And you know, it's an important thing to be able to go back into your normal routine and way of being able to do things. With that said, please follow the restrictions when you're in public. It's really not that difficult to wear a mask. And there's places, whether I think we realize them or not, are tighter than they can be. A grocery store, for example, the aisles can be very small. They can be tight inside of those places. And so it's just really important as we really want to go into the fall, and we're getting excited about football season, about the LSU, about Prospect, the Saints, Tulane, that we be able to do these things. And the more that we don't comply now, the harder it's going to be to move forward in the future.
Sure. And as you said, it's simple things that scientists say can make a difference. So we all got to stick to that. All right. We also have to talk about controversy on the council. We're talking about Jason Williams, council president, indicted on federal tax evasion charges, tax fraud charges, and Jared Brissett's DWI arrest. The council, we're usually talking to you guys about the headlines, and these days some of your members are making headlines.
Yeah, we are. And look, I think the hard part, I was talking with somebody about this last night, is for us internally, these are people we've worked with for a long time and we've known for a long time. And so I think a general instinct is to want to protect and wrap your arms around people who've been your colleagues and really, frankly, have helped me tremendously in District A and helped Jared in District D and Jason with some of the citywide initiatives. But at the same time, you have to take these criminal charges seriously. And so for Councilmember Brissett, I think the issues are going to look like what happens as he's emerging from his stint in rehab. What is he going to do going forward? And for Jason, I think it's a little bit different in the sense that obviously, as I've said publicly, he's innocent until proven guilty. If he's found guilty, he's going to have to deal with those consequences. But really, I think our expectation for both of them is really what's in the best interest of the council, right? And to serve the people of the city. And so hopefully we'll be in a place where we won't be making the headlines ourselves, but doing it for positive things that help people with the public safety needs they want first.
All right, Joe Giarrusso, I know you guys have a regular council meeting at 10 o'clock this morning. We'll be reporting on the outcomes from that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Sheba. Have a good day.
You too.